All right, so we finished the website, but what if you don't offer services? What if you don't want to have a blog? What if you're an e-commerce store or you're selling something specific like a digital product or a physical product? What do you do then? How do you sell that? How do you integrate that to your site? And that's what I'm going to show you how to do in these upcoming few lessons. I'm going to show you how to set up a funnel. And a funnel basically looks like this. And we're going to be using this plugin actually here. It's called WPFunnels. So we're going to have this landing page or a sales page for your product. So if you're an e-commerce store, that's going to be how people are going to be able to find and select your product. If you're offering a digital service or courses or whatnot, this is going to be the place where you're going to be telling people about your product. Then people are going to go to the checkout page where they will be able to check out the product. Then you have a potential upsell and or downsell. These are optional. So if somebody buys your initial product, they will have this upsell opportunity where they will have the chance to, with a click of a button, buy something else. So it's a great way to make additional revenue with one click. And then they're taken to the thank you page. So if you're selling a product, digital or physical, or you're an e-commerce store, this funnel is how we're going to be able to do that. So in the next section, we're going to get started by installing some of the plugins, and then we're going to be integrating them with our website so that you can start setting up your products and collecting the payments for any purchases. So now that you know what a funnel is, we can go in there and start installing the plugins so that we can actually get started and integrate them with the site to build out those funnels. So let's come back over here. Let's come back into our WordPress dashboard. We're going to click on plugins and add new. And we need to install 4 plugins. 2 of them we absolutely need them in order to do any sort of e-commerce and selling online. And 2 of them are optional depending on the payment processor that you want to use. So the first one we need is going to be WooCommerce. This is a huge plugin. You guys probably heard about it if you do any sort of e-commerce. And it's got 7 million active installations, so absolutely massive. So we're just going to install that right now. And what this is going to allow us to do is to integrate our website with payment processors so that you can collect payments, as well as add different products to the WordPress site so that you can enter all the data you need, and then you can sell the products. So we're going to come in here, we're going to activate it. So we're going to skip this guided setup for now, and then we're going to do what is required as we get into it. Let us, however, set the country. It looks like it's not letting us proceed without it. So let's select, let's say Canada here. And we're just going to give it a second here to load. And then we're going to come back and install other things. So don't worry about that for now. We're going to get into that. But let's come back into plugins. Let's click on add new plugins. Now, the next one we need is something to help us build out a funnel, because how will we sell the products if nobody sees them, right? So we have to type in WPFunnels. Oops. And there's a variety of different funnel builders you can use, whether on WordPress or otherwise, but I found WPFunnels was the easiest to use with, and it had the most free settings. And you can do everything you need with the free plan. You don't need anything else here. So we're just going to install that one. And then we're going to click activate. So let's come down here and let's click let's start. What builder? We are using Elementor. And this is required. You can't skip this setup, so we do have to do that real quick. Next. And I don't want to receive any emails, and let's create the funnel. So we're going to get to this shortly. Don't worry about that for now. Let's go back to the plugins and add new plugins. So these next 2 ones are optional. They depend on which payment processor you're using. So I personally want to use Stripe and PayPal, for example. So I'm going to click Stripe and look for the WooCommerce Stripe integration. This one with the 800,000 active installations. This one works very well, and you will be able to test this as well, to test out with a credit card payment and see how well your funnel works. So we're going to do that. Let's click one more and let's do PayPal. And we're going to do PayPal for WooCommerce as well. 600,000 installations. Very poor rating. I don't know why, but it does the job. It offers the capability for people when they go to your WooCommerce site to use PayPal. So we have all these plugins installed. And by the way, we should be able to deactivate this WP Forms one since we are using the Elementor one instead. So I'm just going to delete that one. And we should be good to go now. So we have the plugins available. So the next thing we have to do is add some products, right? So we're going to go into products, we're going to add them, then we need to integrate our payment processors to our site so we can actually get paid. And then we're going to go in and actually build out the funnel so that you can show your site to your people and promote that specific product or products that you are promoting. So I'll see you guys in the next lessons. All right, so let's start adding some products so that we have something to work with. So we're going to go to products. We're going to go to, actually, let me show you first. If you have a lot of different products that you want to add, you don't have to add them one by one. Just click on import over here, or you might see an option somewhere in the middle that's going to say import if you're first starting out, and you'll be able to import a CSV file with all the information, and then you just need to map the different columns that you have versus the ones that WooCommerce has, and then you'll be able to add all the products in bulk. So you don't need to add the products one by one if you already have an existing site and existing products and you want to just add them here. But in our case, we will be adding it one by one just so I can show you the process from start to finish. So let's suppose as a marketing agency, we're selling a shirt representing our brand. And then as an upsell, we're going to be selling an ebook with, I don't know, 52 marketing tips or something like that. All right. So we're going to be using these two products for our example so we can use them in, and then you will see how we plug them in when we create the funnel. So let's name this Dynamic Growth Agency T-shirt. And then let's come in here to ChatGPT and say, write a description for this shirt. And then let's see what they say that we can use. So I think that looks good. Let's just use that. And then we can delete that. So over here, this is where we're going to input all the product data. So is this a virtual product? Is this a downloadable product? No, it's neither, right? Not for this one. And then if you have a discount price, then you can add it here. So for example, the regular price for the shirt is $49.99, but we're going to be selling it for example, $39.99 today. So we can do it like that. You have inventory details. So if you have any of this information, this is where you will be putting it in. Shipping information, we have to edit the shipping info in the WooCommerce settings. I'll show you where to go for that. You would enter any attributes over here. So any size, any color. So let's suppose, so we have small, we have medium, we have large. And then if you look at that, you'll see what that looks like. We'll click add new, and then we want to add a color, for example. So we can say we have red, we have white, we have pink, we have black, we have blue, we have orange, for example. We're going to click save attributes. And now we have these two over here, right? So we have the colors, we have the sizes, all that. So I'm going to save them once again. We can go to advanced. Any additional information you want to add, you can add it here. Any more options. These are all different extensions that you can use. I haven't had a need to use them, so you can easily launch your products without these, but these are options that you have. So just want to go through everything, make sure everything's good. Of course, you want to add the weight as well, by the way. Let's add it maybe, I don't know, 3 kilograms. Or no, sorry, it's a shirt, not a book. So let's say, I don't know, 1 maybe. And then we can add a short description. So maybe let's add that. Let's just take that first sentence, let's add it here, and then we want to add some images here. You could also add a carousel of images, so you can add like a different product gallery so people can see the product from different angles. You can add it here. We're going to come in here, we're going to search images, and let's just look for a shirt. I don't have a shirt for Dynamic Growth Agency, so we're just going to put something else here. Let's use this shirt as an example. And there you go. And if you want to add additional images, you can just do so over here. And then if you want to add a category so it's easier to find, a product tag. So shirt, digital marketing, anything like that, you would add so here. Especially if you are an e-commerce store and you have a bunch of different products for different niches, or rather different categories, this is what you would utilize. So that looks good. We can use that. Let's publish this product. And so now if we go to all products, we should see this one right here. Now we do want one more thing. Let's add an upsell. Let's add a bump offer. So that's going to be, let's say, a free ebook download. We can add as an upsell. So we're going to click on add new. And then we're going to say 53 marketing tips or something like that. Ebook. And then let's take this and let's come in here and let's add the right description for it just so we can quickly copy and paste it. Okay, let's take this one over here. Let's come in here. This is a downloadable product. It is a virtual product. So as you can see, the shipping option there disappeared. So let's say normally it's $29.99, but today we'll give it to you for $9.99, something like that. So of course, if it's a downloadable file, we want to give them access. So we're going to click on add file. And then we're going to choose file. And then we're going to trick the people and give them a picture of the shirt that they should have bought. Okay, And then the file name will say 53 marketing tips or something like that. So that's where you would upload the file if you have it. You can click on inventory. Now this probably won't apply if you're selling a digital product. So just add whatever makes sense to add. This doesn't really make sense to add here either. Go through advanced, go through get more options. Yeah, so that looks pretty good. If you want to add a download limit, so when people buy, they have the option to download the file. So do you want to allow them to download only once or twice or whatnot? You can set that here, and download expiry when you want that link to expire before they're not able to do anything anymore. So let's come back. Let's check. Let's add this as the short headline right here. And let's add a product image. Let's say ebook. Is there anything for ebook? Yeah, something like that. Let's just take this one right here. Okay, so that looks good. If we want to add a product gallery, let me show you what that's going to look like. So let's look for ebook. Let's grab some additional images. So we'll insert this, and we're going to come back and insert maybe 2 more. And that should be enough for now to give you an idea. I don't want to take up too much time with all the loading for the book. So let's hit publish. And now the products are good to go. So we're ready to start, or rather we're almost ready to start creating the funnel. But one more thing I want to do is first set up the shipping information and set up the payments first for these products. So let me quickly show you how to set up the shipping information. So if we go here, we go into settings, let's do that. And then in the next lesson, I'll show you how to set up the payment integration. So we're just going to go into shipping here. So go to WooCommerce settings, shipping, and then just enter the zone. So whatever shipping zone, whatever percentage shipping or cost shipping you want to include for a certain zone, that's what you would add here. So we're going to go with, for example, for South America, we want to add a shipping method. We want to do free shipping for South America, or we want to do a flat rate for South America. So we want to do, for example, taxable, let's say shipping of $2.99, for example. So we're going to click on create and save. And then we want to give this a name. So we want to say, let's say LATAM, Latin America, and we're going to hit save changes. And now if you go back into your shipping zone, make sure it loads, you should see it over here. It's going to say LATAM, South America, flat rate, right? And then if you want to add another zone, if you want to add a certain fee for that zone, then you would just add it here. And so that's how you set up the shipping. So in the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to set up the payment integration between Stripe and PayPal before we actually go in there and start setting up the funnels with WPFunnels. So I'll see you soon. All right, so let me show you now how to integrate with your payment processors, because obviously we want to get paid, and then all we're going to have to do is just set up the funnels, and everything else is going to take care of itself. We're just going to fill in the blanks with the payment integration we want with the product, and that is it. Everything else is going to be smooth sailing. So let's just do this one last integration here that we need. So over here, you have all the different payment options that you have available. So if any of these sound familiar to you, by all means, just activate them and fill in the integration. The ones that we're going to be using is Stripe and PayPal. So I'm going to enable that. And all we're going to do is create and connect an account. Now, the steps are the same here. I do have a test account in my own Stripe account, so I'm just going to create a test account just because it's going to be easier to use and not to have to provide any additional codes and things like that. But you guys will just click on create or connect an account. So whether you have an account or don't, Stripe is one of the strongest payment processors. I've never had issues with them personally, knock on wood, for the past 5 years, and they do an amazing job with their fraud detection, which is the most important thing for me. So strongly recommend Stripe. So just create an account if you don't have one, or connect an account. So I'm just going to click here and I'm going to connect my test account with Stripe. So I've selected my test account. So now it's just going to be returning to WooCommerce. I'll be redirected and it should be integrated with my test account. So as you can see here, the payment is enabled, payout is enabled, webhook is enabled. Now, if you did this correctly, you won't need to get their codes, their API code, their webhook code, all that stuff. It should be automatically integrated, whether it's a test account or not. That shouldn't matter, because I've done it with a real account and it worked fine. Otherwise, you'll have to click on configure connection and you'll have to reconfigure the webhooks, but it should work totally fine if you integrated it properly with Stripe. You shouldn't have to re-enter anything. So just make sure it says enabled. If not, just let me know in the comments below what some of the issues are that you're experiencing, but I've never had, knock on wood, an issue where it says not working, even with my own real non-test account. So that's the Stripe integration here. Now, you probably have this off by default if you are setting up a real account, but if you want to enable test mode, then you'll be able to test the funnels that we set and actually make purchases with a test credit card. So Stripe is going to give you a test sample credit card that you'll be able to use just so you can test your whole journey. So We'll have that enabled so we can test it out. And let's come back to payments and let's enable PayPal now. So we're going to scroll down here. We're going to enable PayPal. And now we're going to follow basically the same process. So we're going to click on Activate PayPal. And I'm going to log into my PayPal account now. All right, so I just literally clicked on a few buttons. I had to do nothing else, and it just says, thanks for signing up. You now have an account. So we're going to go back to WooCommerce. And now this should be integrated as well. So once we set up the funnel, we will see the option for PayPal as well. So that is that for the PayPal integration. It should say connected, and it should be working. So if we go back into our payments here, we should see Stripe. We should see PayPal. So let's just turn that on. You can click on Finish Setup, but it should already be set up. And I don't have Apple Pay or Google Pay enabled on my personal PayPal settings. You can certainly turn that on if you like in your PayPal account, but PayPal in and of itself should be working. So it does say connected. Let's go back into payments and make sure that it is on. So now it is on and you should be good to go. Now, in terms of Stripe, when you go into manage, you do have options as to what you want to accept. So if any of these sound familiar, if you're in the specified regions, you can certainly turn these on. For me, I just need a credit card. In North America, a credit card is more than enough. I don't think anybody in North America really is too familiar with any of these, but you can accept or decline whatever options you like. Link by Stripe, super convenient. Apple Pay, Google Pay, super convenient payment methods. So I definitely want to have them enabled. So you guys can take a look and just turn off and turn on whatever you want to. But that's basically it. So again, if we go back into payments, we should see these two are enabled. So we're ready to start creating our funnel and then start sending traffic to that funnel because we will be getting paid. So I'll see you guys in the next lesson. All right, so we're ready to start creating the funnel. So we're going to go into WPFunnels. We're going to go into funnels. And we just have to play around with the settings a little bit first. So we want to make sure we go into settings and we select complete funnel because otherwise you won't get the complete selection of the right funnel. You'll get the lead funnel, which is just the email and the thank you page. We don't want that. We want to sell, right? So we want the complete funnel. So we're going to hit save. And then now we can go back into funnels and we can choose create your first funnel. And now they have some templates here, pretty cool templates. Some of them are freemium, so not all the features will be available, but a lot of them are just completely free and fully functional. So you can take a look and see what works for you. There's not a ton of them, but it has more than enough to get you started, and you can certainly edit everything with Elementor later on. So in our case, we're saying that we're selling a shirt, right? So which of these looks good for us, looks good for our theme? Granted, we can always change anything, but we can preview anything as well. So here we have the landing page or the sales page in this case. Then we have the checkout page, refuse to connect, okay. We have the thank you page. Then we have the upsell, downsell. Now these are all optional, right? So you can choose what you want to add and what you don't want to add. All of these are optional. So take a look and see which theme looks good for you. So if you're an e-commerce store, I'd probably recommend creating a website that has that e-commerce theme, as we discussed at the beginning. So this is more so suited if you just have like the one or two products, or if you're selling courses, things like that, or services. If you're doing e-commerce, I recommend selecting that theme from the very beginning. So let's take a look and see which one of these is good for a shirt. Let's look at this one. Let's preview this one. This one's landing page, checkout page, thank you page, pretty standard. That, yeah, I mean, we could use any one of these. Let's look at this one. Learn to grow your business online. Let's go with something like this. I like this one as well. Let me preview this one. So again, landing page, upsell, thank you, downsell. So let's just go with this one and just change some things around. So let's click on import. Now the upsell and downsell won't work if you don't have the pro plan. So you need to pay for this plan if you want access to upsell and downsell. For the purpose of this course in this video, we only need the landing page, checkout, and the thank you page. We don't need upsell, downsell stuff. And on the checkout page, we will be able to add the order bump. And the order bump is kind of like an upsell, where as people are about to click buy, they will see the option to buy another product. And in our case, it's going to be our ebook, right? So we'll be able to do that here. So this won't even work if you click on add product. You won't be able to add any products here because you don't have the paid version. So what we can do here is we can just delete these right off the bat, or click here and we can connect to previous step. So we're going to connect it like that. We don't have downsell, So we're going to close that as well, connect to previous step. And so now if people buy, they'll be taken to the thank you page. And if people don't buy, they'll be taken to supposedly a different thank you page. But in our case, it doesn't matter. So really, we can just close that. So this line here is just completely irrelevant in our case since we don't have an upsell and downsell. So we can just come in here and move it like that and just kind of move that out of the way. So this is going to be our funnel, very simple, just a landing page or a sales page, and then a checkout page, and then a thank you page, right? So if we want to preview this page, we will be able to edit it around, change some things, and yeah, there's going to be a lot of editing to do here, but hopefully you should not be afraid of that anymore. So it's just a full-on standard big sales page. I don't think we have to spend too much time doing that at this point because you guys already know how to edit the page. So I'm just going to show you the most important things, like how to integrate them all, but anything else shouldn't matter too much. So the main thing we have to do here is add content to the checkout page, right? We have to add the products. So here's what the checkout page looks like. Yeah, so no product is added. Okay, so once we add the product, it'll show up here. So let's do that. Let's click on here and we're going to add our shirt, right? So we're going to say, we're going to type shirt, click here, say add, and then we'll see all the details pre-populate here. We have the price here. If we want to add coupons or not, you have some premium options if you pay for the premium plan, but you should have enough with just this. And then for the order bump, we're going to add our ebook. So let's look for the product. It was book, ebook, like that. And then you can change the colors. So if you want to change that to maybe our website color theme, something like maybe darkish bluish, right? Something like that. And then for the color of the text there, the special one-time offer, if we want to change that, it's going to be right over here, which is for some reason purple, but it shouldn't be. So we can do something like that. Of course, we can just go to our website and pull up those colors, but this is fine. Special one-time offer, I think it would be nice if it was darker. Maybe something like that. That doesn't look really special, does it? If it's very bland, that's not very clear. So let's just click here and let's see if we can play around. The colors, maybe make it a little lighter. I think that's fine. We can leave it at that. You can play around in the checkbox label. So that says grab this offer with one click. So when you checkmark, what color is that? You have the product description. So that would be this one right here. So we want to keep that at black, of course. And then you have the product image right there. You have the order bump position. So where do you want this to show up? Before, like at the very beginning, or after the order details, which is the standard. Before checkout details, after customer details, you can go with all these. Of course, the most common place that everybody has, I haven't seen anybody have a bump offer in any other place, is after order details. And then you have all these different styles where it looks like this, but once again, the default wins, and style 1 is the most common way that I've seen it. I haven't seen really like any styles that look like this, you know? Always have some sort of image, some sort of information about it. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing else here for me to show you. So now that we've saved it, you can only add one. Yeah, so if you want to add more bump offers or if you want to add upsells, you will need to upgrade to the plan, but this is enough for us. So now we can preview the checkout page. And now we should have this. And because we have the test Visa card enabled, we'll be able to test the purchase here. And then we have the marketing ebook offer right over there, right? So let's edit all this first, and then we'll be able to test it and make sure that it works properly. So, okay, we got to do something with that pop-up. Let's come back here. Let's just disable the pop-up for now, maybe. Let's go to edit with Elementor, and then we're going to go to the themes and just disable that silly pop-up. Okay, so I'm just going to change that to 1 per day. Unopen, save and close. And that should be much better. So yeah, so I think we're good to start editing the pages now. Let's quickly look at the thank you page. Yeah, so once the order shows up, it will show up here. So I think that looks pretty good. And I don't know why that keeps showing up. That should only show up once per day, but anyway. So let's start off by editing our landing page. We're going to click edit over here. Again, I don't want to spend too much time, definitely not as much time as we did on the website, just because you already know how to edit all this, right? The main thing here is just to show you how to integrate all this. So this is a funnel, which means that it shouldn't have your navigation bar and everything at the top because it's just going to be distracting. So this is going to be a standalone page that we're going to be sending people to sell our products. So we still need our logo here. So let's just change that and add our logo. But keep in mind, it's going to be part of your website, of course, but it's not going to have the header and all the content there, not to distract people. But we do, of course, want the logo. So these templates aren't as nicely done as the ones that I showed you, but they are still workable. Let's see if we can, yeah, we can't do that. So let's just increase some from the bottom a little bit. Oops, sorry, wrong direction. From the bottom and then from the top, let's do 10 as well. A little bit more space, dynamic growth. And then that's a little wordy. Let's delete that. And let's just say, get your t-shirt now. And I don't know what happened there. I just clicked next and it, what is that? Oh, it's a text editor. They didn't make it a headline. Look at that. Poorly made, I gotta say. But it does what it is supposed to. So that's why I'm saying I don't want to spend too much time here because we're just going to be basically starting from scratch when we don't need to. But yeah, get the idea. So we have that. Let's come in here and let's pick from an existing one. We don't have one, huh? Let's come in here and just increase that. We'll say, get your t-shirt now. There you go. Then we can delete that. We can say, amazing t-shirt to make you love your day, something like that. And then here for the button. So we want to say next step, right? We want to change that. We want to say get your shirt now. And then of course you can change the button. So this is a different button, by the way. This isn't the same normal button. If you type button here, you have a button and then you have a next step button. So the next step button is better just because it integrates smoothly with the WPFunnels. So it will take you to the next page when somebody clicks here, no matter what your next page is. So you don't have to manually keep on entering the URL because this is automatically generated. So that looks fine. For the image here, of course, we want to change it to have an image of a shirt. If we have one, is there a shirt? Maybe something like that, you know? Ooh, wow. What's happening here? Let's take a look. So it's minus 120 margin from the right. I don't know why. But yeah, you get the idea. So let's just at least fix some of the things here. Let's see what this one has too much of a margin here. Let's make that 0. We're not going to make all of it perfect, but at least we're going to make it look decent. So let's make that 0. That's a little close. That's a little close. Let's add 20 margin here. That's all fine. So we just come in here and just fill in the blanks. That seems okay. You would obviously change the price and whatnot. I'm not sure what that span data buffer was, but there you go. Yeah, so everything else seems okay. You could, if you like, you could also decide to add your footer here at the bottom, for example. So you can indicate that you want to add the footer on this page if you like. But we're okay. We're just going to go with this. And we don't need to edit that. So let's close out of that. So let's come back here. Let's go back to WordPress. Let's go back to our funnels. Let's click here now on this funnel that we have. Let's edit the rest of the pages and then we can test it all and see what it all looks like. So let's go to checkout. Now, you might get an error that said unable to generate page or things like that. If you get such an error, what you guys have to do is go into exit to WordPress, go into Elementor. Where's Elementor? Go into settings and you have to regenerate CSS. Sorry, not settings. We're going to go into tools here and you're just going to click on regenerate files and data. And then once you do that, it should work for you. So that did happen to me a few times where I wasn't able to open the funnels, but then I just clicked on regenerate files and data and it worked every time. So hopefully it keeps the momentum going. So yeah, so let's come back here and let's edit this checkout page. So again, not too many changes, but just to at least make it presentable. It's like at the very least, change the logo. Where's our logo? Right here. Okay, too big. That's fine. Over here, there's way too much margin at the top for some reason. So that's fine. That's fine, although I would probably make it smaller. I feel like that's way too big. Oops, nope, we want to select this, and we want to change the padding there at the bottom, maybe 75 or so. And then there's a lot at the top. Let's check this and see if there's padding at the top from this one. Yep, 75. Just make it a little smaller. Testimonials could be good, although I don't think this is the right place for them. I haven't really seen a checkout page with testimonials at the top yet. If there are testimonials, they're usually somewhere at the bottom, not at the very, very top. So we're just going to get rid of that. We're just going to have the billing details, all the information here. So as you can see here, everything is ready for you. You don't need to do much. So very, very nice plugin here that just allows you to do everything. So the little red ones are the required fields. So if you want to change any of this, you can just come click here. And this is the funnel checkout page. So you can have the one column checkout where it's all in one column. You can have 2-column checkout. The 2-step one, I believe, is a premium feature. Yeah, it's a pro feature. So 2-step just makes it less intimidating for people. So they fill in like their name, their address, and then on the next page, they fill in their payment details, things like that. But 2-column one is fine. So it has all the information here, and then people select what they want over here. So that's pretty much it. This is pretty straightforward. All of this makes sense, I hope. Let me know in the comments if not. But aside from us coming in and testing this, there's nothing really to check. All of this I think looks pretty good. If you do want to change the button color, you can just select the funnel checkout, come over here, and then go into the payment section. And scroll all the way down and just change this here if you like, if you want to. Maybe if you want to change the text color to white, perhaps that looks better, so you can try it out. But I think that looks fine as is. I like the orange. I don't think a blue one would fit here. A blue one is more so maybe for services, for like a subtle call to action, like what we have. Well, how do I access my site? Let's click visit site. Something like this, get a free consultation, something like that. But for something like a button that people are buying that you want to flash, I do like it to be orangey, something like that. So let's go back and why do we have so many of these open? Let's come back here. Yeah, so that looks good. So let's just go back and let's edit the last page, the thank you page, and then we're going to come in and test it. And that should be it, really. Let's come into the funnel. Let's click here. Let's edit this thank you page, at least make it look somewhat presentable. So thank you, special offer for you. Interesting. Okay. So they're using the text editor. I don't like that. Let's delete that. And now the whole page broke. Look at that. Let's see if we can go back. Let's click on editing started. And let's try this again. Nope, keeps on breaking the page. Let's refresh it. Okay, so let's not do that. Let's add a section first before we delete that then. So we're gonna add a headline here. And we're gonna say something like, first of all, I don't like these colors. Let's say white, and let's say, thank you for your purchase. Please find the details attached below. Depending on what your product is, that's what you would do. And then we want to maybe add another space. Maybe we want to center it. And then now let's see if we can delete it. There you go. So something like that. Come in here again, change the logo. Too big. Quite dynamic indeed. Something like that. And then people will have access to all the order and all the details here. By clicking enter here, it's quite unreliable. I'm trying to click enter so that it maintains that space. But if that doesn't work, what you can do is just have another headline and just have 2 headlines instead. It's going to be a bit more reliable. So let's come in here and just reduce the padding there at the top a bit, or maybe it's this column that has the padding. It's a little much. Let's say 75. I think that's more like it. Let's click publish. And we can't preview the page. There's going to be nothing there. But what we can do is now come in here and just test the entire funnel. So let's come back to the start to funnels. Come in here. And by the way, you can change the URL of the landing page, right, if you want. So if you click here, course create a landing. So let's suppose we want to make this, what is it? We're selling t-shirt. So we just call it t-shirt. And then we click update. And then that's going to be the URL of our page. So once we preview this, that's going to change. So let's purge all. And that should not say course creator landing because we just changed the URL, right? That should say, let's come back in here. Sometimes it should say t-shirt. So just hasn't propagated yet. Let's purge all again. Make sure all the changes have been saved, and let's try that again. There you go. So now you can, of course, you can come in, guys. Take your time, obviously, right? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to already build a website. So just take your time building out the sales page. There's no rush. I mean, unless you are in a rush, but you know what I mean. So we're going to click on Get T-shirt now, and let's see what we can do here. So we're going to test it. We can pay via link. If you guys aren't familiar with link, you basically click on it and they verify you via text or email, depending on your previous purchases, and then you buy right away. So that's it. That's all you need is just to verify via text or phone. So really convenient. So let's suppose we want this offer as well. We want everything. And we're going to enter this credit card information. We're going to enter it here. We're going to enter any date. And then we're going to enter, let's try that. Save payment information. We could also pay with PayPal. As you can see, the PayPal option is available. We're going to click on place order. Okay, right. I forgot all this information. Let's do that. Okay, let's try that again now. Place order. What are we missing? No shipping method has been selected. Please double check your address. What did I miss? So I forgot to add the shipping zone for North America. So I just added free shipping and now this should work. So let's come back in here and click place order. And now it says thank you for your purchase. And so the order has been received. So I'm going to show you what that's going to look like in the email. And I'm going to show you where to go in WooCommerce so you can see your orders. And then you can download the book. So you can click on download. And lo and behold, you have an amazing picture. What a ripoff, wouldn't you say? So yeah, so that's it for the funnel. So you can attach this now, right? So now you can send traffic to, if you're selling something, you can send traffic to that page. Go back to WPFunnels. This main page right here with t-shirt, right? So if you want, even on your website, what you can do, like instead of get free consultation, for example, you could say order product, buy t-shirt, buy free course, get free course, whatever it is. And then you just link people to the site instead of your contact page. So it depends on what niche you're in, obviously, right? If you're not selling services, then that's where specifically this would come in handy. So yeah, so that's that. Let me show you in WooCommerce where to go. Again, tons of these different tabs. I don't like it. Well, let's keep things clean and organized, please. Let's come in here. Let's go into WooCommerce now. If you go into orders, you'll see all these different orders, right? Processing, so they're waiting for you. So now if you click on them, you'll be able to see all the information. So you need to send the person your item, right, that you received. So there are some automated softwares that can do all this for you automatically, that can integrate, that can connect with WordPress, with Amazon, with Shopify, all that. I'm not going to go extensively into that in this section, maybe in an upcoming section. Let me know in the comments if that is something you guys are doing, but this is where you get your data, right? That's the most important thing. You're going to get your data, and then the email that you get is going to look something like this. So this is going to be the order for you that you guys are going to get. That's going to say that, hey, here's what this person bought. Congratulations on the sale. Here's the shipping address. So you need to send this person the product that you have, and congrats on the sale. And then there's another email as well that's going to look like this. So this is the email that the customer is going to get. So hi, Yvonne, just to let you know, we've received your order and it's now being processed. So that's the download. So people can still download even if they close out of that page. And then here is the t-shirt. So thanks for using our website, and we're going to send you this product. So that's what the emails look like. So one email is for you to let you know that the order has been placed, and the other email is for the person to let them know that the order has been received and you are working on it. So that's what that looks like. That's how this whole funnel works. Whether you're an e-commerce store or a course creator or a service provider, this website and this funnel will work for you no matter what you're doing. So hopefully that was helpful. In the next lessons, we're going to be diving a little bit into SEO and how to monetize this site, because we have all this amazing content. We have a nice blog. How do we actually monetize it? Is there a way to monetize it? And that's what I'm going to be showing you in the next lessons. So I'll see you guys there.